My name's Amata, and in this Red Gaming Tech video I am here with the latest from the tech world. Now, before you ask, Paul is going to be back with more CES news, as of course he has been rather busy with that over the last couple of days. He's going to be handling all of the big news and stuff he can really get his teeth stuck into. I'm here with some bits outside of CES, and one thing that is actually from CES that was mentioned by Intel. However, we're going to be starting things off with Nvidia. Now, of course, we're all hyped for Volta to finally rear its head in the form of GeForce. I'm still looking, no sign of it, no, sadly. But we do have something regarding the Nvidia Quadro GV100, which has surfaced itself in the latest NVFlash binary, the v5.427.0 to be more exact. For those of you wondering, okay, what is that when it's at home? Is it actually a BIOS extraction and flashing utility for Nvidia graphics cards, the most popular one to be exact. So the Quadro family still has the most professional features, software certifications, and are being sought after by, big wigs into graphics design, animation, media architecture, and so on. And the Quadro GV100 could actually be even more feature-rich than the surprise announcement that, of course, was the Titan V. Now, of course, I did mention earlier that this is making use of a GV100 silicon. See, I said silicon that time. You think I don't read the comments? You just got called out. Anyway, they are using a common ASIC and board designs for its Tesla V100 PCIe add-in card variants, Titan V, and of course, the Quadro GV100. Now you might wonder, okay, so what is actually the difference between the Quadro GV100 and Titan V? Now I'm sure the differences are going to be plentiful and of course rather in-depth, but the main thing that I have for you at the moment is that the Titan V has 12 gigs of HBM2, memory using 3 out of 4 memory stacks available, whereas the Quadro GV100 has all 4 memory stacks and a total of 16 gigabytes. Now you can find a link to the latest version of NVFlash if you perhaps like looking at numbers. I've got you covered, fam, don't you worry. You'll find a link there in the description rather for your perusal if you're at all curious. But with all that said, let's move on to a couple of pieces of Intel news, shall we? Now, I will have something regarding the security concerns regarding Intel, but before I get to that, which obviously is the more meatier section, I suppose you could say, I do have something first on 10nm Cannonlake, as Gregory Bryant, who is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Client Computing Group over at Intel, was at a small event, not obviously the huge keynote that Intel had yesterday where a metric ton of information was revealed, and if you haven't seen Paul's video on that yesterday, I would recommend doing so. I will put a bunch of links to all of the CES stuff we have done so far in a pinned comment in the comments below. But for now, what did he have to say? Well, he did confirm that they are indeed shipping 10nm. Now, he didn't give much context, really. It was kind of like, hey, yeah, we're shipping 10nm. Okay, thanks, bye. Obviously, I exaggerate, but he did indicate that the company had begun shipping 10nm processors before the end of last year. Obviously, there have been rumours that Intel had shipped a dual-core 2.0 GHz processor for low-power applications, so this pretty much confirms, or kind of confirms, kind of, sort of, but the important thing to take away from this, is that they are indeed shipping 10nm Cannonlake. Now, obviously, it's a bit concerning that it wasn't revealed at their big keynote and that it was held at a small press event, sort of early in the morning at a small booth, from what I can gather from the articles written about it. It kind of calls into question, okay, how big of a shipment is this? Like, this is, if they had something to reveal, like, yeah, 10nm's coming in 2018, they would have said that at their big reveal. But it is a smidge concerning. I don't want to, don't get the party hats just yet, basically, is what I'm saying, because the fact that it was a small press-only event where they said, yeah, we're shipping Cannonlake, and that was it, is a smidge concerning. Let's just leave it at that. But they are shipping it, so hopefully we'll see it sometime before the end of the universe. That would be lovely. Anyway, let's move on to the second Intel piece, which is regarding those security concerns. Now, I'm not going to talk too much on the nitty-gritty of what actually is going on with Intel at the moment. You guys have undoubtedly heard about it many, many times. It's kind of hard to escape the news at the moment. And of course, Paul has covered this as well, so do go watch his videos on it if you want the skinny on what's going on. But the point is, MSI have actually been pretty on the ball when it comes to dealing with these recently identified security vulnerabilities. And basically, they have now ensured with a BIOS update that any system that is using the MSI Z370 series is indeed operating securely. And obviously, MSI have been working with Intel to do this. So they have prepared updated microcode and released BIOS updates, which of course are now available for download. And I will include a link in the description below if you want to check this out. You can find way more information on what's going on with this updated microcode from Intel. So MSI are naturally strongly recommending that anyone with this system is to update and apply the latest BIOS, and it is of course recommended that they review Intel Security Advisory, for more information, including mitigation measures and so on. Now they are working on updates for X299, 200, 100 and X99 series motherboards, so if you haven't got one of these, don't worry, they are working on updates for those as well. BIOS update is no small thing. They of course don't want to rush it and break stuff, that would not be good. But they are working on those, and of course they have issued this one. So if you've got this particular board, or the series of boards, excuse me, should I say, I would get on that quick smart, to be honest, because better to be safe when it comes to these things. Now, we are done with the Intel business, but we are going to finish up this video on a high note with something from Toshiba. This is in the form of an SSD, and they have a new entry into that particular market. This market is obviously under a fair amount of pressure, and Toshiba have decided to announce a new RC100 drives, which they have actually already been using in the OEM sector. Now, they are going to be using their version of 3D NAND, which is called NVFlash, but it is 3D NAND essentially, and it's going to use 64-layer TLC NAND, and also an in-house controller that does not require onboard DRAM. Also has read-write speeds of up to 620/1130 megabytes a second, with 160K/120K IOPS, which is roughly 2 to 3 times the performance of a top SATA drive, just to give that some context, because I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, you sure said some numbers there, Amata. Yep, those are some numbers. Yep, they check out. They're certainly numbers. But no, it's 2 to 3 times performance of a top-end SATA drive, which is pretty damn nice. I'm sure you will agree. So, you might be going, or some of you might be going, the top students, I guess, out there will be going, well, what about the DRAM requirement for high-speed SSDs? Well, they're going to be making use of the NVMe Protocols HMB, which of course is host memory buffer feature, which of course sets aside a chunk of system RAM for caching purposes. And before you go, but my RAM, I only need 32 megabytes. I'm sure you'll be fine. Also has quite a compact form factor as well, but the main concern, of course, with all this said, is like, yeah, okay, but how much of a kidney is this going to cost me? And well, they're going to be initially launching in 120, 240, and 480 gigabyte capacities in early Q2. So early prices are hopefully going to come in around $150, then $200 for the 480 gig models, and if we keep seeing the improvements in NAND supplies, this will probably come to pass, but we don't really know the price. That's kind of a hopeful price. But again, given the current trend and the trend that 2018 is expected to take, and the fact that this isn't due out until Q2, hopefully it will come in around that price. And if it does so, it's actually going to be pretty damn nice value for money. To be honest, I've had my eye on an SSD for a while. I think it's like the last thing I need to kind of finish off my rig. As a SATA drive is great and all, it's obviously better for main storage, but for important programs and obviously the OS, I think an SSD is pretty nice. Paul has one on his PC, which is how I know the SSD glory, shall we say. Anyway, that is me done for this rather lengthy video. As I said, there's going to be a link to the Intel microcode update in the description below this video, and there's going to be a comment with not only some important times for this video, but also some links to all of the stuff that Paul has been discussing regarding CES. As I said, he is going to be giving us more, but for now, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for your support, and I'll see you next time.